Good morning, fellow students. How many of you actually have been water skiing before? No. Well, I have, and it's the best feeling in the world when you're behind a boat in the water. It's mirror glass and it's nice and smooth. I'll be talking about the fundamentals to water skiing and where water skiing has started from. I have been doing research on this topic for a week now, and I also have many years of experience water skiing. I am sure that everyone here has never been water skiing before. I would like to explain the fundamentals and the history of where the water skiing has came from. Today, I will be discussing the fundamentals and where skiing originated from and different types of water skiing. There are many different ways of approaching water skiing. There's two skis from a dock. Now this is a ski. The other one's at home, and if you're like carrying around two large skis. Now you put your 1 foot here in this slot, and you could adjust it just like that to the size of your foot, and you can do the same thing to the other one. Starting from the dock, you're already 2/3 of the way in the water, so be relaxed and be ready to ski. It is important to keep your knees bent and also to keep your arms bent and your elbows in to resist the initial pull of the boat. 2 skis straight out of the water is like pretending to sit on the dock. You're in the water, you're sitting down, and you're just sitting like someone's helping you up, and you're out of the water. Now a single ski from sitting dock, you have 1 foot in the slot, which is this right here. The slot that I explained last time. I'll just follow some. In the slot, and then you're sitting in the ski safely with 1 knee deep in the water. The ski dock starts similar to the 2 skis. Make sure your knees are bent and your elbows are bent, and then when the boat pulls you, you have 1 foot in the slot, and when the boat pulls you out, you put your other foot in the behind slot right there. Single ski straight out of the water, you place both feet in the slot. You put whatever feels more comfortable, your left or your right in the front one, and then say if you have your left one, like I like my left in the front, and I put my right in the back, and then just like any other, like from the 2 skis or the single ski, you keep your knees bent, relaxed. If you're too tense, you just keep falling over, and falling over is not fun, because I've been there. Now, where water skiing originated from, on this article that I found by Mary Bell, tells me that the idea came from an 80-year-old man named Ralph Samuelson of Minnesota in June 28, 1922. His idea was that if people could ski on the snow, why not on the water? He and his brother figured how to ski in the lakes in Minnesota. Ralph tried many different skis, such as snow skis, but that didn't work out so well, so he invented his own. His trick was to lean back in the water with the skis sticking out, the tip of the nose sticking out of the water, and to lean back and let the boat pull him out of the water. Now, different ways of skiing. I have some pictures to show you. Now this is pretty much called acrobatic skiing, which there are several people skiing behind a boat. You can see here, they all have ropes, and they do this to show the people, have fun, and just relax. And it's crazy how they get sand on each other's shoulders. They all start on skis, usually 2, and then they work their way up on making the tower. You can see that the smallest person is on top. Now there is a trick skiing where one person on a ski does tricks. There you go. This is one of the tricks here. He is going in and out of, it's actually a sports skiing. He does in and out of the buoys, and that is on a single ski. And you can see how glassy the water is. I've been on water like that, and it's the best feeling in the world. Now, there is some tricks that they also do on one skis, and it's him doing a flip out of the water, which is pretty amazing. And then my personal favorite, which is me skiing here, is skiing for relaxation. That is me at Lake Mead, and I sit there and relax in the sunset with my family, and that is the best way I like to ski. Thank you. Are you done? Oh.
I tried water skiing.
Yeah?
I have. I tried doing it myself. I couldn't get up and go to water.
All right, Jack, you go ahead and sit down. I don't want you to stand up there while you're getting... Victoria, you got some comments, please, and make sure to speak up, because everybody's talking. Let's talk. One person. Here she goes.
I thought the visual was real strong and supported your informative speech. I thought that it flowed very well. I felt that in the beginning, for the audience survey, there was a lot of reading as opposed to eye contact, so it just felt like a script. And then you have a tendency to like put your hands in your pocket and back to the podium, hands pocket and do all that stuff. So it's a little bit distracting, but other than that, it was a strong speech. So good job.
Well, most of Victoria's comments were about your delivery, so I'll keep my delivery comments relatively small and we'll focus on the content kinds of issues. I thought that your topic was very clear, and it sounded at the beginning like you had a clear purpose statement, but then you had a different one, and then you had a different one. It really sounded like you had 3 purpose statements at the beginning of the speech, and then there's a preview that kind of suggests maybe the speech is going to be a little bit different from those things. So you need to clean that up a little bit. Stick to one purpose statement, make sure you've got a single preview that has the 2 or 3 main points that you're going to be talking about, and put them in complete sentences so it's easier for us to follow those. In the body of the speech, I didn't really catch signposts and transitions between those points, although I could distinguish the different parts that you had. It seemed strange to me that you had the historical stuff in the middle and the description about how to get up on your skis at the start of the speech. It might have made more sense to have the historical information at the beginning of the speech. You know, well, let's talk about where this came from in the first place and what's going on there. Your description, I think one of the problems is whenever you talk about something that you know and you do, there's this idea that, well, I know this, so I should just be able to explain it, but you really have to practice and think it out. And it seemed to me like you're winging it a little bit too much when you're explaining how to get up on the ski, which foot goes in, how to fit it, how you're going off the dock, how you're trying to stand up when you're not on the dock, those sorts of things, and it just needs to be planned a little bit more. I know that you know the material, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't plan it more and give it more structure. I think it needs that. Your personal experience, I think, I like that, by the way, better as an attention device rather than just the survey question. Maybe the survey question afterwards, talk about your experience. One of the things I like to do is water skiing. To me, it's really relaxing. Have any of you ever water skied yourselves? That kind of thing. It's too bad you haven't, because you don't know what you're missing. Let me tell you why it is that this is something that you really ought to be interested in, that kind of thing. The one place that I got some citation of material was in the historical section. Outside of that, it seemed a little bit thin. I like the visuals that you had. You got a little frustrated with the remote early on, which was strange because it did start working. You have to figure out which button to push before you actually get up there and start trying it. It's just because it was working, thank goodness. But it's one of those things. That's another one of those things where you have to practice a little bit. And I know you don't have the technology at home or the remote there, but that's one of those things that you could do after class. Or we did have a practice session in class too, so that would have been a good time to figure that out. I'm still curious as to how they get, the aqua skiing, the aquabatics that you're talking about. How they all start skiing. How the heck do they get up on top of each other while they're skiing? That's one of those things I'd like to see a clip of, so I could know how it works, because that's a pretty spectacular kind of pyramid that you're building there with 15 or 16 people standing on top of each other, and they all started skiing at first, because you see they've all got a rope in their hand, that kind of thing. And I'm just thinking, did they do a jump and that guy ended up on top? That can't possibly be the way it worked. So it's interesting, and there's a long history of that kind of stuff going on, so somebody figured that out early. You might talk a little bit about places where they do that, how many aquabatics shows are there, how long has that tradition been around, what do the shows consist of. Like I said, anything to fill it in a little bit. You've got only a 5-minute presentation, so you have more time to talk also. You kind of introduce the subject in a general way. The instructions at the beginning seem out of place compared to everything else that you're talking about. And if you were going to do that, I'd suggest you do it at the end of the speech after we've heard about, a little bit of history and what goes on when people participate in this activity. I like the final visual that you have of yourself on the skis and you're talking about that. I think that was a good way to kind of finish off the speech. All right, thank you.